Merry Christmas Eve to all you wonderful people. So, um, we are going to dive into. We're going to dive into some Skeleton Crew here in just a second. Um, I think this week's episode was kind of a. I mean, I kind of really liked it. I haven't gone through it a second time yet, but hey, Brandon, how are you today? Welcome to um, the after Skeleton Crew. I don't know who's coming in. It's Christmas. Everybody's got family. I don't know. Some of you East Coasters might have might have the kids going to bed because Santa Claus is coming to town. So I'm not sure what the protocol is for all the East Coast folks, but yeah, we're gonna get into Skeleton Crew in a really good way. Yeah, happy holidays to everybody. I really enjoyed this episode as well. I think it was a good nod to a lot of old stuff. We got some more information, which I really find that to be the most important thing right now for me is getting more information. Um, yeah, there's so much. I mean, Stanley's, what's going on? Yeah, there's so much, man. This episode, we learned a lot more about everything that's going on with whatever his name is, Jod, Jack, Jingle, Heimer Schmidt, whoever he is. We're learning more about it. We're gonna get into some stuff in the episode as we break it down. But yeah, this was a good time. I really enjoyed myself. I can't think of a better way to continue this story. I think it's been great. So yeah, hey CT420. Merry Christmas, sir. Been loving the shorts. Yeah, we've been having a good time making the shorts. We've been making sure to do them every day for this 2024 Star Wars Advent. And actually, to get into the holiday spirit and the spirit of giving and the spirit of fun, I think it is fitting that I acknowledge that it is Christmas Eve, and I feel like it is my job to acknowledge what I believe is the winner. Um, uh, is the winner of the 2024 Star Wars Advent. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of the other creators in the industry to try to keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on with them. And to be honest, look, I've had a blast making the shorts, and I'm gonna do some stuff with the shorts on the channel that are a little different than we usually do, just to try to drum up some viewership on some of the videos and have some fun, do some different stuff. So keep your eyes out. Christmas Day, after the Christmas, there's some stuff coming. But really, before we get into any of the other stuff that that I, with Acolyte and I'm sorry, with Skeleton Crew and everything, I wanted to acknowledge the person that I think has won the 2024 Star Wars Advent Calendar. Uh, uh, this creator is the winner. So I wanted to share that with everybody because I think it's appropriate to come on up if you want to. You're welcome. I want to show this because this guy wins the Star Wars Lego Advent 2020. Come on, Potato Head. Come on. Hey, stop your whining. Okay, so this guy wins. If you haven't, go check this guy out. His screen name, his handle is at BJ Wimpy. Great name. But anyway, he has won, in my opinion. If there was a competition, come on, there you go. If there was a competition as to who is the winner of each like Advent calendar year and all that fun stuff, this guy is my nominee for the 2024 award for the best. So I'm going to dive into his content real quick and show you guys how awesome he is. This is the Lego Star Wars Advent. Here, I'm going to put my music on pause.
Like to do this day, Christmas Eve, there's a bigger celebration that I want to celebrate. And that is the birthday of day
There we go.
23. We are almost at Sithmas, my friends.
Sithmas.
And we have Luke's land speeder. You know, a few friends of mine actually built a full-size replica of Luke's land speeder. You should check it out. Rogue Land speeder build, I believe is what they called it. So check them out while I build this.
This guy wins the advent calendar since you brought it up, and we've been making these shorts. If you haven't followed this guy's amazing. He dresses as Palpatine and opens the advent calendar and puts it together and everything. It's great because when there's like Imperial stuff, it's fantastic. Hello. Yeah, this guy's
Day 23.
that guy is forcing my hand next year, just so you guys are aware. That guy is forcing my hand next year because he is honestly, it is legit fun. There's no lie intended in that. He is watching his content. Like I do my content and my content. This is the first year I've done it. I didn't really know what to do with it, so I kind of just did it. Great, no big deal. But to be honest, watching this dude do it as Palpatine has been probably one of the funniest and most entertaining things I could have seen in this time frame. So, yeah. With that being said, it's great. Let's see. So, before you get to spoilers, just yeah, for sure. Yeah. We're gonna spoil it up here shortly. That's why I want to let everybody get in, do their thing, say hello, and then we are going to ruin this shit. Because we're going to go through every beat, and there is so much fun stuff in this episode. They continue to make these shows so great, and this episode was just a continuation because it's so good. Wouldn't you agree? Is that why you're here? Yeah, because the episode was so good. Yeah, because the episode was so good. Good. Yes, it was so good, huh? Okay, so we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and get my Disney share on, and then we're gonna go bit by bit. And we're going to break this down. So yeah, we're going to get into it. I don't care that I'm by myself. Let's do it. So this episode was great. They give you a recap. We don't really need the recap. So we could skip the recap, and then they go into the intro. We can skip the intro. So we start this episode, which is a great you know what? I can flip myself today because I can look at this one. Okay. So we start this episode, and basically this is what I picture again when we talk about Andor, or we talk about Acolyte, or we talk about the Mando season where we see the New Republic. It's very much cookie cutter of this, right? This is very much what I picture the old Republic, the new Republic, any Republic. We don't even know where we're at this time, but apparently, hopefully soon we're going to get some data on where the time frame of these people are. So we're getting into this episode. Oh, okay, let me make sure I have the right sound up today because I don't want you to feel bad. Here we go. We'll give you one of these today. How about this? We'll give you. There you go. There you go.
I got one.
Yeah. Give you a little air horn. What's up, dude?
Oh, just doing Santa stuff, and
Yeah. I figured you East Coasters probably got to start Santaing it up here pretty soon.
realizing that that clown Santa messed up one of his Amazon orders, but whatever.
Amazon. It's tough, man. It's tough. The orders are tough.
Probably should have opened the box before tonight, but whatever.
Yeah. It's a time of giving. So appreciate what you get. At least you're not getting a lump of coal. But
Exactly.
did you get to watch the episode? Did you get to
Oh yeah,
enjoy it?
I got one part, like my favorite part of the whole episode. I'll wait till we get there. But...
Okay, great. There's a lot of juicy bits in this episode. I was really I haven't got to watch it a second time. In fact, I started late. I don't know why I keep thinking 6:30, but I started watching at 6:30, so I was like a half hour behind.
Let me tell you what I did this morning at 6 a.m. I woke up like frantically, and then immediately grabbed like my prediction sheet for Star Wars Santa, filled it out, and then I messaged him right away. I'm like, I swear to God, I didn't watch it yet. I just woke up. And then he's like, well, you're good because it didn't come out. So I'm like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
forgot about that. Yeah. I forgot about that part. Yeah, me too. And yeah, so yeah, that's what I mean. You're not alone. So I feel like this, yeah, and it was a good episode. I mean, I'm glad that I don't watch reaction videos at the same time. I go on the big TV and I confiscate the big TV during these episodes, and for 35 minutes or whatever, I get to be as loud with the TV and whatever, and I get to watch it like this close and like this wide, so I'm completely immersed, right? And
right.
this episode, again, like I said, this whole show has been really fun. I don't know how, I don't know what the budget was, because that's apparently all we're hearing about these days on every channel in the universe right now is Disney's budget for what these shows are getting made for. And but man, this one just feels fun. And this episode continues that entire feeling. It gets a little serious, it does get a little serious, but even at the end when it's serious, it's still really fun.
Yeah, honestly. Um, I was hoping for like a little bit of info on KB. It seemed like we got a little hint of her sickness. Like she said she couldn't go near so I'm
Yeah.
hoping that gets me a point. But
Yeah.
I thought this is gonna be the episode we find some stuff out. But
I think we got
no,
more information on more of the story than anything right now. I think
oh yeah,
today we got more. It actually moved us along. It didn't give us much. It gave us character development, but it didn't really do much. So yeah. So get into this episode. Like I said, this is what every Republic feels like to me. Old, new, somewhere in between. They all feel the same, right? And so
bureaucratic.
yeah, this looks High Republic time, to be honest. This looks like the Jedi, similar to what the Jedi buildings look like, and you could see, some artwork, even out here and up here in the main senator's office. So, or the assistant, what did they call her? The assemblywoman, basically. So we get to. Oh, I don't want to play, so we're gonna turn that off in a second. There we go. I don't want to play. Thank you. I know. I was dumb. I know. I'm right here. I can see. So yeah. So we see the dad, and we see Wham's dad, and he's just doing his data entry, right? Because that's what he does, right? He just, hey, I'll see you later. Enjoy the treats. He's just doing his data entry, and then he sees our elephant mom. I'm guessing this is elephant mom.
More slander. All right.
It is slander. Yeah, it is. It is. So we find, what is Neil's mom? We find Neil's mom here, and then we find out that they're about to go through with some espionage, right? What I thought at first is they want to get past the barrier with a ship, but then I'm like, oh shit, where are they going to get a ship? Right? Because there's probably not a spaceport on this place, at least that anybody has access to with the droids. So we find out that they want to beam what would be the anti-distress signal. They want to beam, come home, ET phone home kind of thing, right? They want to let the kids know that they're looking for him, I guess. And so they talk the dad into inserting this Bluetooth device is what I want to call it. This USB stick, if you will. Come on, I'm going to show it. But anyway, they have this plan of espionage, basically. And he goes back to his terminal, and he goes ahead and puts in this awful-looking data spike, right? And I like that the parents are getting their hands dirty, right? I like
the clunky USB. Like we got this.
Oh, I mean, this thing is hideous. I'm trying to find the moment they show it.
It's like they're
but
using floppy disks in this planet. Like, what are we doing?
yeah, it's some real ancient looking tech. It's pretty awesome actually. So anyway, so Wim's dad is getting busy on finding an access code for the barrier is what they're looking for. So they're looking for an access code, and um, basically, hold on one second. Basically, that's not what I want to do. I want to do that. I want to get rid of you, and I want to get rid of you, and I want to bring you over here. Thank you. Okay. So we get there. We go. That's what I need to do. Okay.
Yeah, I
So
got some of that coquito tonight. What do you know about that?
I mean, there's some stuff going on. You know what I mean?
Nutella flavored coquito.
Right. Okay, so we get into espionage, and they basically ask him to hack in, get the code so they can transmit a signal out beyond the barrier, and he gets busted immediately. He gets, they find him out, and they send him to the principal's office. He does. It's so funny because all of these people on this planet are like giant children, right? He's like, "Well, show me your hands." And he's like, "Well, show me your other hand." He's like, right,
So you don't got a belt, dude? Like tuck it in.
right,
Like,
like you can't like squeeze that between your cheeks, dude. Like, come on, like, keister that thing. So they're all kind of like big children. It's really funny for being as what looks like an advanced society with rail cars and data pads and all this stuff. They all seem pretty childish, and I guess maybe that's because they haven't had conflict in generations, but they seem very childish in the way that they present themselves. So he gets sent to the principal's office, and we get to see there's that primitive device I was talking about. And so that looks like something I would engineer. It's pretty weak. So he gets busted, and then she does exactly what her daughter does. She does the exact same thing. She tells the droid, delete all of the files pertaining to this and power yourself down. And the droid does it. But it's funny because she just has pretty much complete control over all the droids on this planet, right? I don't know who the supervisor is, but the supervisor should be very disappointed in the droid security because she can do whatever the hell she wants.
almost wonder, like, is there a supervisor?
Well, I mean,
You know, the pirates out. I mean, I'm jumping ahead, but you know,
well, yeah, I mean, we find out more about that here in a bit, but I mean, just at this point on this planet, she seems to have good control. So they get into an argument real quick about the kids, and you shouldn't be doing anything. And then she's in on the plan immediately after, right? So as soon as they're talking about it, she's like, "We got to get the kids. We got to help the kids. We got to get the kids." It's all about the kids. And
because
so,
like you look at this shot, it's almost like symbolic. Like there's nothing between her and the supervisor. But it's like, what if that's just an empty tower? Like all
well, and
the
that's what I think with the
all
droids just protecting. So the droids, it seems like the droids are protecting this society, but I didn't see any droid remnants except for maybe that separatist tank on at Chewie or whatever the other planet was. So
acronym.
yeah, I'm curious if, like I said, I want to catch a glimpse of the school again to see if it has that gunner tower, because I think this whole I don't think that's what they think it is. I think this could actually be like a weapon also. I don't think it's what they think it is. Like the supervisor lives up there, but it seems like whoever is up there or whatever's up there has the ability to basically control everything, and seems like there could be a weapon up there too. It's not just like a supervisor tower, but they all look the same. So are the coordinates for all the other worlds there? And is there maybe a coordinate to another, like a superior planet to these 9, right? Because we saw the 9 in the picture, and then the one that was like supreme. So like, I don't know, why is this one so protected? So they mention the supervisor isn't going to help them, and then we get into our intro. This was probably my favorite part of the whole episode. They tie up 33. They tie up Smee, and they power him back on and start to interrogate him. And of course, our little Geordi LaForge girl went ahead and rewired some circuitry in him to make it easier for him to not kill them. And so these two, have their childish banter, and then we get to KB powering him on, and he starts talking about this is the stuff I'm enjoying the most. You coming up? Come on, there you go. This is the stuff I'm enjoying the most, also because we're finally getting some answers here, right?
Right.
So he powers on. He asks what they want, and then of course we have Neil, who's like, make sure to tell him not to kill us, right? That's the first thing that he comes out of his mouth, and he's like, oh, I'm not gonna hurt you. I just tried to kill you before, but I promise I'm not trying to kill you anymore. Like, don't worry about it. That was just me. I just had a moment, right? No big deal. Just a senior moment, right?
I mean, if you think about it, he just moved towards him before in that whole scene. He didn't like fire. He bulked up a little bit, but it was like him having a flashback, like physically, of what the captain said. He didn't actually carry anything out.
Well, yeah, I mean, he didn't get it close enough to grab anybody and rip any limbs off, right? So he wasn't ordered to blast them. He was ordered to tear their limbs off, which I found to be quite gruesome.
But he definitely could have if he wanted to. Like, he wasn't moving very fast or anything away.
No,
yeah,
no,
I'm just
no.
saying. Because I just rewatched that episode again today with my wife because she missed it, and I was just like kind of watching that scene. It's like he like echoes like what his old captain said, but he doesn't. He bulks up, but he doesn't really act at all. Like,
Right.
So I don't know, like he was fighting it or something.
Yeah, or yeah, I mean, it just seemed like old programming. So he kind of got stuck on a loop, right, and then got shut off by our Jedi friend who could have used the Force. So he talks about not harming them, and then says those were the old captain's orders, and then he mentions a name. Oh, so there's Neil making a promise not to attack us. I'm not going to hurt you. And then he says a name. There it is. And they start asking about Adden, and he mentions the old captain, and then he said the old Captain Rennod. Tak Rennod. Now, I have no chat. If anybody is in the book in the chat that knows more about a Captain Rennod, please educate me. But I cannot recall that name ever being mentioned.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But we get his name, and then we get the name of his ship, which I find to be even more pleasant. And then we find out that, he gives us a little backstory on Tak Rennod, that he was the most infamous pirate the galaxy had ever known. Now, being as we have never heard of him, it seems like it could be quite old. I'm just saying. Maybe Scotty's right, and this is like old Republic, but I don't think so. So he talks about the ship. Come on, say the name. Come on, Jude, say the name. And he roamed the skies. Come on, what was the name? Chat. Anybody remember the name?
The Onyx Cinder.
The Onyx Cinder. Now that name sounds a little familiar. I can't remember where I've heard that name before. I'm just trying to type. Don't worry. Don't worry yourself. I'll sit here and try to type. All right, let's see. Anything come up on Onyx Cinder other than
Since Operation Cinder, but that's it.
No, but I thought maybe in like KOTOR somebody might have mentioned an Onyx Cinder. It just sounds like a very familiar name. But anyway, he roamed the sky for years. He plundered and terrorized and looted, and sounds like a Captain Planet reference.
It's kind of crazy how quickly they update like Wikipedia.
Oh, it's instant. He took whatever he wanted. There it is. Aboard the mysterious ship, the Onyx Cinder. Can I take my keyboard? Thank you. Let's try. Oh, see, you did it again. There you are. Okay, let's see if we can find not Onyx Cylinder. Sinder.
And the name was kind of known already through like toy leaks and stuff like that. So
right. Yeah. I mean, there's a Lego of it for fuck's sake. But let's see. Onyx Cinder from Star Wars. It's a vessel. Yeah. So there's nothing old. Otherwise, somebody would have mentioned it. So I'm not in a bad place in thinking that we've never heard of this before. It just felt like a name that we'd heard before. So we finally get a name of the ship. We finally find out who the pirate is, which is great news because I've been dying to know who this guy is. Okay, so then we're trying to get the information about AT-AT. Now, of course, the captain doesn't even trust the droid because, well, not all droids can be trusted. And so we find out that you have to go to the heart of Skull Mountain. Did you hear that? Skull Mountain. You have to go to Skull Mountain to get the coordinates that are in his data pad and his private pirate journal. And then we hear a great tale of how the captain met his demise and how the crew, basically his concubine, so we, because we know what words mean because we're grown-ups, is his let's say enslaved handmaiden. Let's call it that for what it is. So basically it's a female, could be male, but female servant to him, to the captain. And then he talks about how the captain, basically killed his entire crew. Yeah, wham, sad. So we find out that the concubine stabbed him, and then the captain basically had them all killed. So that's why we find out why the ship crashed into AT-AT. It wasn't because they shot him down.
The dagger Jod has is the one that killed the captain. And that was him.
Correct.
He pulled it out of.
Correct. So it looks like, that's what I mean. It looks like the concubine took his dagger and stabbed him. I guess stabbed him hard enough to anchor him to the wall. And then, of course, the captain's like, well, haha, have fun crashing into the planet. So that's why everybody died. That's why SM-33 is a wreck when we find him, because crashing into a planet without slowing down, I mean, shit, they're lucky it's still in one piece, right? So we find out what happened with that. All the mutiny that happened, everybody died, crashed into AT-AT, and so we find out why the ship is just chilling in the side of the mountain, not landed. I mean, when we find it, it was like upside down, right? It actually started to correct itself, flip itself right side up, and then take off. So we find out why it's upside down, why it looks like it crashed. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we could call it that in pirate terms. Sure. So yeah, we find out everybody died, the captain and everybody. That's why no one ever found the ship, because there was no one to find the ship. Now the question is, so this happened this happened because they were searching for the treasure of Ad-Aten, you know. So if this was one of, and we'll get to that, if this planet was special because of it was special, were the other planets also special for the same reason? Right? And then that's why, I mean, but those planets look pretty poor. So did the pirates come and plunder them and then take all the riches? And then, I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions.
Either that, just like failed experiments or something, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, basically, what they describe this as at the end is, yeah. So yeah, he talks about Skull Mountain, bubbly pits of mud, you know, and then Wim and Jod go on a little private talk, and he talks about how he misses his dad, and
This is a really interesting scene right here too, because I think this confirms like the talks we've had
well,
about like
it
the
does,
parallels between him and Kanan.
and I'm glad you mentioned this because
Mm.
this is exactly where we're going. So we get to a point where little dude's crying. He wanted to go on this grand adventure, and space isn't what I wanted it to be. And this isn't I miss my dad. And I don't remember, right? Expectations. Same thing that's wrong with the Star Wars community. So yeah, all I ever wanted was a real adventure. Yada yada yada. It's not what I thought it'd be out here. It's scary and confusing. I miss my mom and dad. I'm not a ba. My mom's dead. Jod's like, forget it, bro. Just forget about him. Stanley says the nine worlds to mint all the currency of the galaxy, or is it just Republic? Exact. I think it's Republic. But is it old or new? That's the question. Is it old, or is it just old? So Jod says forget him. And then he goes into, see, I thought it was just going to stay pirate, right? I thought he was going to pull the Hondo Naka line, like, you know, forget about it. Let's go be pirates. We loot together. You don't need a family, right? I thought we were going to go in that direction, but instead, he goes and talks about that's what I did, right? So, you know, of course, little dude's like, I can't. Oh, these guys are just saying hi to each other. They don't even need to pay attention to what we're doing. And so Jod then mentions something that really surprised me because I kind of, you know, this is what we've all been talking about is what is his background? Where does this dude come from? And you know, he mentions a powerful imagination. Great, whatever. Let's see. So 51, 2. You know, even in this rotting galaxy, you know, and then he says the first thing that catches my attention. Now, I thought he mentioned the attachment thing first.
I thought he did too. I don't know if you missed it.
I don't know if I missed it. Let's go back a few meters here. Okay, you know what? Okay, so 55. And then he said, yeah, I guess he does. I guess he says it second. And then he comes out with your focus determines your reality. So that's something, yeah. I mean, that's something that we've heard, you know, we heard Qui-Gon tell Anakin, right? At the very beginning. And so this is obviously a throwback to the Jedi Order. And then he does it again. He does it again. Where are you?
Nah, he's gonna talk about it after he calls him a Jedi.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, so make the life you want to live. Okay, 26. Okay, so
no, actually, he gets up and leaves it. When did he talk about attachments?
that's
Make
what
that
I'm
up in my
saying.
head?
I thought it was at the beginning, but maybe it's not. I thought
So
it
I
was.
feel like after he talks about missing his dad, he's like, we call those attachments. It's like, whoa.
Forget him. Oh, okay. your fears, your anxieties, your parents, right? There it is.
Yeah. Boom.
They're what we call attachments. They're the last thing you need, right? So he talks about, again, that old Jedi creed about letting go of your attachments. I think Yoda says it a couple of times. And then he goes into talk about your focus determines your reality. That's what I did. And, basically, then he picks up the data pad for him. Where is it? I thought he was trying to Jedi mind trick him right here at first. I was like, oh, is he
I
gonna
know,
make him,
right?
is he gonna make him do something wicked? So 11:11. Here it is. Then he picks up the data pad with the Force. And then he says, well, you're not a Jedi. And then he keeps leaving it on a hanger too. He keeps leaving it like, wait, but you're not a Jedi. How'd you do that? Right. So he obviously has control of the Force. At this point, we now know that he either was trained by a Jedi after the fall, or he was at the temple. Maybe a youngling, maybe a Padawan. It doesn't seem like a Padawan.
Yet another Order 66 survivor.
Or maybe he was, like I said, it depends on how old. I mean, it just depends on how old he is. He could not have. He could have. He could
The
be like.
age is perfect. He was like a kid, probably just taken in, and
That's
then
what
it
I mean.
happened.
I think he's like super youngling, and maybe. Yeah.
Maybe he's even like a little bit younger than Kanan when it happens. So he
Well,
hasn't
that's what I'm
even.
thinking. I mean, as much as people don't want me to use the word, it seems like it seems like how do I put this? It seems like he could be Reva's age, right? Not quite having
Maybe.
a master, not quite a Padawan, still a youngling. So it seems like it could have been that age or younger, you know. But yeah, again, another survivor of Order 66. So that's going to drive people crazy. In fact, that's what I'm going to title my next video. Yet another survivor of Order 66.
Right.
Okay, so they're done talking about being a Jedi. We get to what's supposed to be a smuggler's pirates lair. And we see ships and they're thinking it's pirates, but no, it's pleasure yachts. And we know what pleasure yachts look like because we've seen Solo.
It's where you
Right?
take your concubine.
Right? That's where you get your concubine. Right? So yeah, so they fly in, they think they got taken to the wrong planet, and then our police escorts show up as soon as they land on the planet. And we find out that Jod knows the system. A lot of these systems are old, and this was supposed to be a pilot. And now it's, I guess, a pleasure. It's like a Tahiti, if you will, a whole planet of this. And so, the robot's like, what happened to the battle pits and the battle world? And apparently kids aren't allowed to go there. And Jod tells them, you're going to have to give me all your credits so that I can buy our way into this. And then, they show up, and there's tons and tons of people here. So this isn't like this hidden alcove that we were promised by this, once again, lying, manipulative pirate droid that has probably been stranded on that ship underground for a very long time. Can't say how long, but very long time. So things have changed, obviously, in the galaxy. And they land and they dump oil on somebody else's nice starship. And she's kind of disgusted and was like, tells her security, hey, you might want to get these tow trucks ready because we might have to tow this junk pile of shit out of here. So he tries to disguise these kids as the elders, and she says, "Welcome to the famous spas at Skull Ridge Mountain." So they know it's called Skull Ridge Mountain. So somebody turned this into a spa at some point. And I was thinking that they kind of look like Jawas a little bit. You know, remember the in A New Hope, the rat that rats out Chewie and Han and Luke and Kenobi to the Empire. He looks just like Neil. He's like, oh, you just, you know, put him in Canto. Yeah, yeah. This looks like a Canto. This looks like Canto Bite without the slot machines, right? Without the BB-8 slot machines. That's what this looks like. This looks like a pleasure spas. So anyway, they fool him in. They come in. They put a restraining bolt on our friend so he can't commit any violent acts, which I thought was hilarious because that's what I would have done to his ass the first time he tried to attack me. But that's just me living outside the Star Wars universe. So here it is. You know, what's this meaning to this? It's all, you know, so you can't hurt nobody. Droids have been used as weapons, and we've seen him try to be used as a weapon. So makes sense. I fully keep it going. He tries to choke somebody and then gets, you know, shocked and restrained. So the restraining bolt works. We get in. It's time to check in. He doesn't have a reservation. And so we get into this conversation about paying for it with his fancy credits, right? So she takes the credits and she, you know, just like any concierge, if you will, they keep asking for more. You know, oh, you got to grease those wheels a little more. You know, oh, you got to, you know, give me more money. So he, you know, is an imposter and, you know, talking about upgrading and giving her all of this and that. But then we find a friend, and our friend is a bounty hunter. Apparently, she's not allowed to have any weapons, but her name is Pock. Is that her name? Pock? Poke? Pockets. That's it. Pockets.
Polly.
Polly. This is Polly. This is our friend Polly. Polly Pockets. And so we find out that, you know, he left her behind on some mission, some gig, to go find something in a pool of leeches, which I thought was kind of awful. So I can understand why she's pissed, because if you left me in a pool of leeches, I'd be mad as a dog in a hubcap factory, but that's just me.
He said he took her bounty though too, so he was working as a bounty hunter at one point too.
Yeah, well, that's me. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of a checkered past. It seems like our guy is very shady, and can't be trusted.
That's what he has to do to survive.
I mean, you know, yeah. So we find out that you know, she's going to. He mentions I haven't checked the pucks, which means he's obviously, she knows she's checked the pucks, or she knows without even checking that he's got a bounty on him, probably through the grapevine, because, you know, bounty hunters talking shit. So she's going on to, you know, report him and this and that, and then she's like, well, what was that reservation, because she heard all the bad lies and stuff, and he basically gives her as many credits. Will you get your butt off the computer? You're incorrigible. You're supposed to not touch
So
the
he's
keys.
like rich after encountering this guy.
Yeah, right. You know, you're being a real pain in the ass here. You can't just take over the stream. You can't just take it over. Such a menace. Again? Come on, that's it. Your butt's got to come off. There you go. She's taking over the stream. She does that. She knows how to work things now. Yeah, exactly. It's like, yep. So she asks for more money. He's like, cool, no luggage. Give me my suite. So they go upstairs, and, you know, he's trying to lock him in. They're talking about where they want to go, and then, you know, Smee mentions, you know, the outside may look different, but I promise you, no one's discovered his lair, right? And so it's down through the spa. They hatch a plan, yada yada yada. This is all, great. They argue about who's going where. The captain does this, the captain does that. Then we get our message to our wolf captain friend. So she obviously is all about the
Can't
money.
get over this dude's costume still. Like,
His costume's great, man. His costume's great. So she sends the coordinates. You'll have your payment when he has Silvo. What I like is how many names this dude has. This
right?
dude has more names. Like, I want to know his real name so that we can look him up in the Jedi archives. That's what I want to know. I want to know his real name because this
They
dude.
mentioned another one, like when we get a little further that I don't think we heard yet.
Right, that's what I mean. This guy has more names, I swear. He is like the con artist of con artists, right? So then, my favorite part. Okay, so we get here, but then we find a hut just chilling in the acid pools, right? Because that's what these are supposed to be, acid mud pits. And this is my favorite part, right? This might be my new screensaver because he's like, "Oh, here, I brought you some food. I hope it's delicious." He's like, "Oh yeah, look, I brought you all this food." And then he's like, "Nah, I don't want this shit." And he just picks him up and eats him, like what I would picture a hut doing, right? It's just so perfect. And he's like, "Not again," which means what? What do you mean not again? So you've been picked up and had your head bitten off before? I don't. It's just a great scene. Anyway, so they go on looking for the mud pits. Everybody has their own thing they're doing. Some are looking at the runes. Some are looking at the mud pits. They find out that the captain's now. Here's what you were saying, right? Should have been right about.
Yeah, this interaction, Guard ends up going through everything, all his names.
All right, so where is it? She starts bugging out. Anyway, she has a moment. So they follow the pipes down. I don't know. My favorite part of this whole thing is he's still carrying the towels.
Right.
Like they're all the way down here in the bottom of this pit, and he's still carrying the towels like he's a servant, right? It's just fun writing. So they find the captain's symbol, and then we find this monster, which I think is, I mean,
Like, who the hell is this guy?
yeah, it's just some random. I thought, I didn't even know what to think, right? So then we finally see him, and he sloshes his big squid mitt, and then we get to see his face. We get to see his face, and he's like a big, like cephalopod or something, right? So then these assholes are getting chased around, and then, of course, KB comes to save the day with her wrench, and they all laugh at her a little bit, but she ends up, saving
Up
the
there
day.
is like when they first encounter him here. It's when they go through all his names. So
When
There's
like,
yeah.
yeah.
One extra name we haven't heard before. Can't remember what it was.
Okay, let's get to the beginning of that then, because he mentions it right when they get they trap him. So let's see. Oh, there you go. George,
no, not that one. There's one.
Jodwick.
That
Jodwick
is a different
Zank.
one.
So that's the one we've heard before.
Yeah.
So let's back up a couple feet. Okay.
There we go.
Halt dash Zentith. That's what she called him, right?
Yeah. Okay, Mad Captain Silvo.
Yep, Mad Captain Silvo. Dash Zentin. Mad Captain Silvo. Jod.
Maybe it was just that Jodwick one that threw me off. Jodwick Zank. That almost sounds like it would be like the Jedi name.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean,
Jodwick.
anyway.
Maybe. I mean,
sounds like less made up. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's his real name. I don't think he's out there giving his real name out. That's what I think. I think it's kind of like a Kanan Jarrus. I think that's his made up name, right?
Yeah.
Like Caleb Doom. I don't think it's his real name. Is that the dog from the Never Ending Story? Oh, no. Good one though. So we get here, hands up. You know, the wise elders raise their hands. No, we're just kids. Well, you can get your hands up too. She threatens him with a wrench, and then saves the day. He punches out the guy.
Yeah, I felt like, what are you gonna do with this? And she's like, this.
She's like, oh, and then they get flooded with shit. It looked like it was fantastic. I love that she's the smartest person in the room. Yes, this is exactly what we're talking about, Stanley. So I wonder if we know Jod's real name. Like, yeah. I think I don't. That's why I don't think he was a Padawan or had even gone to his Ilum trials yet, because otherwise he probably would have kept his lightsaber kind of like Kanan, kind of hidden, but kept it. So I don't think he was there yet. I think he was
One of
just
those kids that went with her to get the crystal like dies at the end of Revenge of the Sith, though, right? He's like that last Jedi, like right in front of Bail Organa, I believe.
yeah,
The kid, and so
yeah,
one down.
yeah. One got one. Uh, so they're going down the down into the pits. They made a new friend. Is this they walk in and they're telling the story of their whole adventure, and then they get down to this dude and he's just oh, there you are, you son of a bitch.
Think about that more
There
now.
you
The
go.
other one was the rookie kid that we know survived. We saw him in the
Gunji.
Bad Batch.
Yeah,
So there's maybe
Genji.
like two others. I don't know if they're
uh
human.
so he leads us down into the pits. He helps our kids friends get down into the pit, into the captain, the treasure room. And then we see our pirate friends, and they're like, "Hey, welcome to the resort. We're a non-violent neutral planet, and to help keep the peace, we're going to blow your ass out of the fucking sky." So the pirates coming in hot. Yeah, I mean, I think we would have seen his lightsaber by now if he had it, even if if Dogman had it. I think we would have seen it by now. So yeah, so they get blown out of the sky. Pirates coming in hot. We knew that was coming. The lady's like, "Oh shit, the pirates are here." So they get lowered down into the catacombs, and then we see all these booby traps, and uh, we immediately see these decapitated skeletons. So this is very and I think that's what I love about this show the most is it started as Goonies Lost in Space, and then it did this other little thing, and now we're doing like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, right? Or we're doing like National Treasure, right? This has so many different feels to it, and maybe that's why I'm enjoying it so much. It's not just one repetitive thing
Although
going
there's
on.
a little of this in the Goonies too, though.
Right. With the skeletons and the ship, so it's still taking
Booby
the same.
traps, finding
Yeah,
the treasure. So
right, the treasure room and all that fun stuff. So decapitations, and then um, we see the laser almost cut off some heads. It's great that they're kids, so they didn't get blah blah blah. They argue a bit. We see another booby trap. I don't know if these guys know more about the booby traps because they've been security on this planet and just couldn't get into the treasure room because they couldn't figure out the last puzzle or whatever. But it seems like they knew, like he knew what was up. He grabbed a rock and he's like, "Oh, don't get stuck in that trap." So there's gravity traps, all this fun stuff, and then he gets shot by
Urkel.
Urkel. Urkel gets pissed off and is charged to lead this hunt apparently. So Urkel does the shooting, and then we find the pool. Now this one was really cool. Uh, a pool of acid, and then a riddle, and how basically the kids are like, "Oh, the most valuable thing in life is your life," and the pirate's like, "Oh, slow down. The most valuable thing to pirates is gold and booty." So he throws what looks like their last credit into the water, and and then we see the it works, and they go down into the treasure room, and the doors lock, and we get the big reveal that is, come on, show me the treasure room. Show me treasure room. Come on, show it to me. Show me treasure room. You're not going to show it to me, huh? There it is. Treasure room. Now, this treasure room looks awesome. That looks like Hondo Onaka's race of people if he had a shrine built to himself. So that looks very Hondo Onaka, which I love because I love that species is almost always pirate. But there's some cool shit here. If you're looking on the walls, there's some cool writing. We're gonna probably end up dissecting by the end of the week. There's some treasure. Don't touch any of the treasure. Is basically so. Of course, Neil, like I said, Neil figures out that the roast is the key, and they lift the roast, and it's on a lever, and then the captain's data log shows up. Now this is where things are starting to get spicy. This is where things get spicy. This is where the episode really turned. This is where things really got great. This is, I think, the interviews with the cast. I think the kids said this was their favorite episode, and I think Jude Law, if I'm not mistaken, said that next episode reveals more about his character than any other. So, are we going to get a back to flashback? Are we going to get a Jod backstory, potentially a little bit more about Jod, especially with the way the episode ends? And we'll get there. We're really close to the end. But are we going to get more of that backstory because of the way the episode ends? So we get into this. We start searching for Ad-Aden, and he pulls up the coordinates like lickety split. Right. Okay. He pulls up the coordinates for Ad-Aden, and then this was a really cool. I gotta admit, I gotta be honest. This was a really cool hologram, like zoom in through the galaxy to find their home. Right. So he finds the coordinates for Ad-Aden, right, in the memory banks, and right there, it's the plaque that we saw where the coordinates were missing, right? And I want to go back. What's the time stamp? 06. So we'll go to 05. Okay, and right there. Okay, so here's. God dang it. Come on. Show me love. There we go. Bingo. Okay, so we get the coordinates to Ad-Aden. We see the language. It says Ad-Aden, solid gold. Here's the thing that this symbol, like this all looks very High Republic, right? This whole thing. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll be able to dissect that with Scotty and the boys in another stream here and see what everybody thinks after everybody's had some time to dissect. But this seems very older High Republic. So we get the coordinates, which is a really cool. We're finally going to figure out how to get back to Ad-Aden. And then we get this like pinpointing in the galaxy, which is really freaking cool how they did this. I'm going to skip in and out because obviously I don't want to get taken down, but I want to show like that's really cool. The way that they illustrated that was really freaking cool. And then we get to Ad-Aden. It gives you parsectors and breaks it down in the way it would a star map on the ship where they have the maps, the hyperdrive map. So that's what that looks like. And then dude gets
I have full control of this whole place right now, right? Refill with that. Bye, Urkel.
He's like, you have control of this whole facility now, right? He's like, oh yeah, man, I got everything. He's like, why don't we fill that chamber back with acid? And then you hear them after they go through, and you hear the pirates. You hear the pirates screaming his name. Like pirates like, "Oh shit, acid." And then you hear them dying and screaming, and then you hear them say his name and scream his name, and it's like, man, he is ruthless. Right? Where is it? Okay. And then things turn for the worse. And look, he doesn't even look happy about what's about to happen, right? He looks like almost like he's upset at what he's about to do. But, you know, he talks about now the treasure, and then he asks if it's real. They talk about it, and then he brings up the captain. Now, this is really cool. Again, I still believe that Neil's species are, again, more important than they seem. But they pull this up, and I was trying to find like a good. I mean, it just, you can't really get a good picture of him, right? They never give you a good picture of him, which I think is another clue, right? Because
Well, that's just him though. They're showing. This is like his throne you sit on right here.
right. But I think, are we going to see this person again on at Aten, maybe ruling at Aten, right? Or was the captain in the ship a fake? Or there's a lot of questions rolling around in my brain. Like, are we going to see this guy again? So he's in his armor and he's ready. They don't let us see his face, which I think is interesting. I was trying to get a good like.
That is interesting, actually.
Like, look at his face. Like, that's the best you're gonna see is like his hat, right?
It's actually Hondo.
That'd be awesome. Hondo's grandfather. What's wrong with the picture? Okay, so this is where are we? 16. So let's go to 14. So he's talking about at Aten, and he basically says, come on, work with me here. That no one knows it's an old Republic mint.
The last old Republic.
The last old Republic mint. So this could be, like Scotty's been saying, this could be old Republic. Right? Because that ship has been there way longer. They didn't even know about the Galactic Civil War. Right? This could be an old Republic mint. Right? And so he tells him to stop. Once he realizes what it is, that's where they make money, infinite money. And so this is where things get spicy. And Jod turns the tables completely. Now, we all saw this coming, I think. I think we figured he was going to kill her or he was going to do this or that. I didn't expect the Pirates Code to enter the system. I didn't expect them to go all Pirates Code, but they did. And so now we find out that he's invoking the pirate code, and this is where hand-to-hand combat to the death and an Old Republic cover. Yes, that is the Old Republic is old Republic. Yes, before the 1,000 years of peace we heard about in A New Hope, or in. What is that movie? What's the first movie? What is it? No, it's not Return of the not Attack of the Clones. That's your favorite.
Phantom Menace.
That's your favorite, but it's Phantom Menace. Yes, it's a Phantom Menace. She thought it was Clone. Return of the Clones or the Clones. So hand-to-hand combat to the death. Oh, hi, you're back. Guess who's back? So it's hand-to-hand combat. He tells her just yield. 33, help me, but he can't. And he tells her, just yield, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to scare you. He's like, just, no worries. And he knows, he's going to take her. I mean, I had my money on her at first, but I think she could have taken him. So she tries. She gives it the old rope-a-dope. He grabs her and
Yeah, I get to win because this is like my favorite part of the whole show.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I'm slowing down. That's why I'm not going any further. So we get here to this moment where we all know it's over. He's got the same captain's dagger, so he, it's kind of foreshadowing that he was going to become the new captain, right? Because he kept keeping the captain's dagger, so it just seemed. No, I think it's before. Yeah, this is going to be an ongoing argument until they give us a real time frame. Yeah, so yeah, like Old Republic before, potentially before the High Republic. Yeah, so that's what we could be dealing with. So anyway, we get to our favorite part, and he's apologetic. He's like, "Oh man, I'm really sorry. I don't want to really do this. I just, I really need that treasure, so I don't have a bounty on my head and I don't die." It's kind of vibe I was getting. He's like, "Oh, I really want to be a good guy, but I just, this has got to do what you got to do, right?" So she says it. She yields. This is my favorite quote of this episode, though. She's like, "You're a grown up. This isn't fair." And I'm like, they're so cute and naive. They're like little puppies.
She's a terrible captain anyway. He did what he had to do.
Terrible captain. She's a terrible captain. So you're a grown up. We're just kids. You can't fight us. And he's like, "I will cut your head off. Like, I won't just let you bleed out. I will cut you, girl." We're just kids, yada yada yada. And then everybody's trying to figure out, oh, what do we do? It's not fair. Everybody gets their solo.
I can't say close-ups of Neil. Like, it's like
it's so funny. He's such a great character, right? And so this is your favorite part of the episode.
This is amazing.
This is probably the best part of this episode. And when I saw it, I was like, oh man. Oh man.
I was like, I said it out loud.
I said it out loud as well. I was like, oh man.
I died laughing.
I died laughing.
Actually happened.
This is also why I don't do reactions, because I don't want to laugh too hard at something, and I don't want to ever show true emotion on stream. But this was great. So we get little hero. He's like, he even says it. He's like,
this is my moment. I can be the hero.
Right? So he stands up all big and tall, and Jod's like kind of giggling at him because he knows, he wants to be a hero, and he steps up. I mean, and then you see, because we saw the lightsaber earlier in the treasure room. I didn't show you guys that, but we saw what looked like a temple guard lightsaber.
A little bit.
Maybe. And then he stands up and you're like, oh shit, he's got the lightsaber. He's going to be a badass.
I mean, you knew he was going to grab it as soon as he saw it.
As soon as he saw it, whether it was booby trapped or not, even if he lost his hand, he was going to grab that shit, right? Like everybody knew, right? You saw the lightsaber, you're like.
I wasn't even looking to see if he was holding it the right way. In my head, I was like, he's going to light it upside down. I know he's going to.
Yeah. And so we see it and we automatically know it's upside down. And I mean, little dude steps up to the place like, I don't want to do this, man. And then Jod looking at him, he's like, dude, be careful. Don't cut your leg off. Right? It was very similar to Kanan. Like, hey, you cut your arm off with that thing, right? And so he tells him, he's like, this isn't one of your stories, man. Like, don't do it, man. Please don't do it, man. And of course, he can't help himself, right? He's just dying to be a Jedi, right? This kid wants the Force so bad. He is dying to be a Jedi. And he's like, don't make me do it, man. And he gets to that point. You can see it. It's boiling in him. Look at those nostrils flared all up. Look at how mad he looks. He's so cute. Look at him. All mad like he's going to be a tough guy. And then he lights it upside down. No! He did it! No! That's
what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't watching it in our living room tonight. I was like in our bedroom because we're trying to stay quiet so the kids pass out. So I couldn't even see if he was holding it right. I just knew in my head that's what he was gonna do. Like, I'm like, there's no chance he has this the right way.
As soon as he stepped to the plate, it was like, it was game over. As soon as he stepped up to the plate, he just, and then he it kind of flickers away. Well, where is it? There it is. It kind of flickers away. And right there, you could see the pummel cap right there. You can see the pummel cap right there. Right. So
funny.
We knew.
I was laughing. Like I might have missed like part of the after this. I was laughing so hard. I just couldn't believe he actually did it. Like I was like, I just gut feeling. I knew it was gonna happen. I was sort of laughing.
It's so good, man. He looks so serious too, right? And then he's just like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be the Jedi right here. Here we go. Are you guys ready? You ready? Here we go. We're gonna do it." And then he lights it, and it scares the shit out of him because he lights it wrong.
The scene right here. That's almost as good as like the Neil scene where he's like,
Yes,
"Oh."
yes. And then it scurries away, and it deactivates itself. And then he scurries in the corner like a little beach, and
he
then
goes sits down.
he just goes to sit down. He's like, "Okay, I learned my lesson. I'm just gonna sit over here." And then it's fast forward. He's like, "I'm the new captain." And then he's like, "Okay, arrest these mutineers. It's mutiny." And then
You know what lets you know that John obviously wasn't never intending to slit her throat, though? He's not holding the dagger the right way to do it.
Yeah, no. The
The
spikes
whole
are,
reason it's bent like that is because it makes it easier to slit through. So he's holding it the inside way, so it'd be
Right.
way harder for him to. He had no intention of ever doing anything to it.
No. It was all to be scary, right?
Yeah.
So then he tells him, he's like,
He did just acid wash the whole slew of pirates, but whatever,
yeah. I mean, look, he's not holding it the way he's holding the jagged end. It's more of a threat. They're kids. They don't know. They've never been
You
threatened.
could look it up too. Like that's a Middle Eastern like style blade, basically taking inspiration from like the whole reason they designed it that way is for slitting
It's
throats.
specifically for throat slitting. Yes. Okay. So we get to this point, and he's like, "All right, first things first, arrest the kids," and then, we get to the kids crying and all that, but then we get what everybody has been kind of expecting, and this is why I think in the next episode we could get a flashback, because, and I'm gonna play it with sound specifically because I think it's important. So we get here, right, and of course the Lost style music shows up and makes it super exciting, and then we see the wiggle, and it comes off the floor, and we get this, right, which is great in itself, right? And yeah, that lightsaber does look kind of small for like a man size, so maybe that was like a younger person's lightsaber. But then we get this sound, which I think is the most important, and he lights it, and we don't see it, but I feel like we could get a flashback based on that sound, right? So yeah, and that's the episode basically as a whole. I mean, the
stuff I was seeing, they're guessing the episode after next was going to be his backstory, but they were wrong about this episode in a bunch of ways too. So
well, and the next episode is Bryce Dallas Howard's episode, which I think is even more telling because she tends to do, in I mean, just my opinion, she tends to do stuff that's a little more like on the emotional side. So she's really good at dragging out stuff. I don't know. I feel like the best episodes in a lot of these series are hers. So I'm very excited about the next episode because I think that's what we're going to get even more juice, because this episode was juicy. I mean, just seeing him talk about the Jedi Order basically without talking about the Jedi, we know because we were there, but the teachings of the Jedi. So you definitely know that it was sometime he at least had a Jedi teacher or he was at the temple. He seems like he's at the age that Ahsoka, maybe younger, maybe Kanan, maybe younger, but it seems like he definitely trained at the temple. It seemed like just talking about attachments and how you don't need them by talking about your focus determining your reality, using the force right in front of him. There's just so many indications that he was at the temple. And then you get to the end where he's more, it seems like the longer we're around him, the more frequently we see him using the force. And that it's, that he's getting more comfortable doing it also. Like maybe he hasn't used it for a while before being around these kids, but then all of a sudden he's got this ancient ship. Now he knows what the ship is. So he's like, oh, this thing was legendary. He used to just roll up on planets and like devastation. So that ship is more powerful than it seems, even in its rickety ass state. And now he's got himself a new fancy lightsaber, which makes it him even more dangerous. And he's captain of the ship, so he's got Smee doing whatever he wants and the kids are prisoners. So very dark day for the kids, very bright day for the Jod, Jack, Jacob, Jingleheimer, Zane, whatever his name is today. But it seems like
John Wick Zank.
I mean, that guy's got more names than freaking anybody I've ever seen in the galaxy. So it's a really good episode. It seems like, I don't know, man. It just seems like there's so much good stuff going on here. I'm looking forward to dissecting the treasure room and really blowing that up on the big screen and really diving into some of the runes and stuff on there because I think there's a lot of juice.
I mean, if I'm him, I'm happy with the treasure room, to be honest with you. But
yeah, but just like look at the Captain Rin Tin Tin wasn't happy with that treasure room. He wanted Ad-Aden, and it's for pirates. It's more about the legendary, the status that makes you legendary. Taking these, the biggest bounty of all bounties of the bounty, right? An old Republic mint where there's probably a mountain of gold. That's why the droids are so prevalent. So I'm hoping we get more information from the adults on Ad-Aden about Ad-Aden. I hope they storm the supervisor's tower and we find out who's running it, head droid, people.
I just really got a feeling there's nobody there. I
have a feeling that this place is being run remotely from the creators. I think the creators used the supervisor tower as a way to monitor citizenship, and that this planet, because it was so valuable, had the droid security. And
Stanley, easy, kill the Jedi.
And yeah, right.
It happens all the time. Mandalorians know how to do it pretty well.
I mean,
bounty hunters, so
there's well, not only that, but there's also there's a lot of loot in the day. I mean, we hear about like Hux had like some of these people had like Qui-Gon or Kanan Jarrus's lightsaber. We hear about people collecting lightsabers in the Empire. So
General Grievous had like 6 of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna find them across the galaxy. They didn't burn them all. They didn't destroy them all like they.
Oh, this is pre that though. That room's like pre-Empire. So,
well, that's another thing. That looks like an old Republic lightsaber. That's what I'm saying. That looks like High Republic, Old Republic style lightsaber. The gold is what keeps getting me there. The color of gold on all these items lead me back to that High Republic, Old Republic time frame. Not
getting it off from these little what does this say though? If we're saying this is the Old Republic, what are these little like experimental jewel planets that are cut off from the whole rest of the galaxy and like basically their citizens are just enslaved? What's this say about the Republic? Is this like the narrative they want to keep spinning? The Republic is bad. I mean,
if you're hiding, look, I get the idea of hiding your mint, right? This planet has resources, these rare metals that we can't find across the galaxy for our credits. So we're going to hide this mint planet. I get it. Hide your bank, hide your vault. Same as pirates, hide your booty, right? The next episode has the outback of this planet to begin with. And okay, cool. But it seems like, I would hide that. I would hide Ad-Aden too. If it had that much resources, I would hide that bitch too. So, but, are they experiments or is this just a security measure, right? Like keeping this very, very, very valuable planet completely off the grid seems like a good idea. You don't tell people where your treasure is, right?
I mean, it seems like they did fine without it, though.
Yeah, but we don't know that we don't know that somebody didn't come collect all of those credits. We don't see the space, like we don't know what the security droids are doing on the other side of the planet, right? The security droids could be collecting these coins and credits and ushering them to another side of the planet, and all of a sudden somebody comes and picks them up from the Republic, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it just seems like, or maybe no one's come for a long time, and maybe, like I
Yeah, I
said,
wonder if there's just a stockpile.
that's what it seems like. And the robots, it seems like the robots are on autopilot, right?
Yeah.
Like the supervisors used to come and go, but that something
Yeah.
happened and they're no longer around, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. Like, there's nobody monitoring this planet, and they're so caught in like their system and their way of life that they have
No,
no idea. They don't even
well,
think about it.
and this is what leads me back to perhaps Scotty's right, and this is so here's my logic here. Maybe Scotty's right, and this is old Republic, right? Like before. So they talk about 1,000 years of peace, that the Republic that we know, the Yoda time frame, that was a time of 1,000 years of peace. But before that, the old Republic had to fall. Then there had to be dark times, and then the new Republic had to start, right? Or our Republic, the High Republic, had to start. So what if the reason that this planet has, and the 9 planets have been off the grid and on their own, is because the old Republic fell, right? And that's why these planets have been on autopilot ever since. And at Aden is just the last jewel that never got found, because Great Pirate Roberts destroyed the coordinates on probably all of the At planets, and then flew there, got betrayed, autopilot crashed, and nobody has had the coordinates for over 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And so this society could potentially have gone 15 generations without any outside contact. That's
Yeah.
the more crazy idea, is that they've kept a society for 15 generations in the dark. The banking clan would not be in control of the Republic Mint if this was Old Republic. If this is High Republic or our Skywalker, Qui-Gon Jinn timeframe Republic, Palpatine Republic, then yes, then the banking clan would be in control. But it doesn't seem like that's where we're at. Yeah, pop back in if we're still up. But yeah, it's a good episode. And then the lightsaber, man. I think we could get some flashbacks. I think we could. It's a really good episode, man. There's a lot of treasure in there I want to dissect, but the lightsaber looks very, very old school. It doesn't look like anything really we've seen. It's got that almost that temple guard look to it, but it's blue, so it's not a temple guard. I'm very confused.
Beats the hell out of me, dude.
I'm very confused. I did like this episode though. I think, I hear
I'm loving this whole series, dude. Like,
it's great.
it's awesome.
It's great. I have, like I said, I try to keep up with the times, and I guess the narrative right now going across Star Wars and Lucasfilm is that their shows cost too much. And that's why we're not getting picked up for a second season, and that's why, this, that, and the other for all these other shows. And they just came out with a report saying Andor was like, I want to say close to $500 million, right?
Yeah, I think
and,
like 350
people,
for 2 or something like that.
well, and people are, where's all this money going? Where's, well, I mean, you got to remember there's a lot of, number one, there's a lot of CGI. There's a lot of mocap, right? There's a lot of animation. There's a lot of drawing. There's a lot of time and energy that goes into these shows, and that's not cheap. On top of what it takes for actors and all of this stuff. So, I mean, I understand that we are in an era of studios having high dollar, right? And so if you figure just an average movie costs what? What's the latest movie? what's a really good late movie? Sonic.
No, no,
What
you
is
don't get any Star Wars to those.
I mean, yeah, okay, but at this, yeah, but at the same time, what did Let's see. Uh, let's see what this.
I bet you this series that we're watching right now is nowhere near the cost of some of
Okay,
the others.
so the original Sonic the Hedgehog cost 85 million, and so 95 million total. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 cost 112 million dollars.
Yeah, it made way more money since then too. 'Cause
Right.
third movie, and it's probably gonna crush it with this one too. Because that movie is
It's
actually
already
really
crushing
fun.
it. My point being
Yeah.
is, these movies cost money. $200 million is not an insane amount of money anymore for these studios, right? It's just not. And so I don't understand the argument of the crying wolf or whatever, because
Do we know how
these
much? How much? Wow.
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. Do we know how much that costs to make?
Let's find out.
I'd bet anything it's way less money. Seems like a lot more practical.
Skeleton Crew, 136.
Which sounds like about half as much as Andor, right?
Yes.
And
Uh,
a
well,
third of the cost of Acolyte.
yeah, I mean, but there's also the cast and size and scope of Andor
Yeah.
just seems so much bigger than Skeleton Crew. A lot of this time takes place on a ship. Yes, there's a lot of money in it, but it just seems like that's what it costs to make things these days, right?
Yeah.
$150 million is not outlandish anymore, right? I mean, when you break
That's
down,
a lot. Like 300 mil, that's even a lot for a movie. Because you figure it's gotta be a hit movie to make your money back. But a TV show, unless you're pulling in subscribers or maintaining them, how is this making money?
I see, and I don't, I think I keep going back to, I don't think Disney is concerned about what the platform is making. Otherwise, they would have pulled the plug on the platform a long time ago, right? Because how many movies have they come out with versus how many shows they've come out with, right?
Yeah.
And so,
I
yes,
mean, Marvel's making a bunch. All their other Pixar's making money still.
right. So
Lucasfilm's the only one that's really not
right, and when you offset a balance sheet, not everything can come in on a W, right? At the end of the year, you need losses to maintain a
Did I say
taxable
Lucasfilm?
business.
I meant
Yeah.
Lucas Television. That's what I meant.
Lucas Television.
They don't get that title back until we see a movie trailer.
Yeah, I mean, look, it seems like Lucasfilm is hemorrhaging Disney's money. Do you think $1 gets spent without the board knowing what the budget's going to be beforehand?
I mean, Lucasfilm's also going to make the most amount of money in toy sales, probably.
Correct, right? That's what I'm saying. I continue to die on this cross, right? But it's yeah, but equivocate that to today. What does $10 million in 1977 look like today? Right? I mean, that's the equivocation here. $10 million in 1977 is equivalent to $10 billion today. Right? If you had $10 million in 1977, you were rolling like Elon. Let's be real. There weren't billionaires back then. Right? It's the same thing. So $230 million in 1977 is like $230,000. It doesn't equivocate. So all of these shows, I just feel like it doesn't. There's no way for them to make money on Disney Plus. How are they making? You think $10 memberships? You think $15 memberships is going to make them the money that they're looking for to make these shows? Do you think that's where they look at their bottom line? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing anymore. To be honest
I don't
with
think so. I think, like you said, there's a lot more money in merch. Look behind me.
you. Yeah.
Matt Cave just got a R2D2 Lego Star Wars fucking set. That's where they're
Oh,
making their money.
I got my $500 HasLab Ghost coming in.
Exactly,
Couple
dude. But
days.
that's where they're making their money. They're making their money on toys and not necessarily minifigs, not necessarily, the card back stuff, but they're making their money on. I mean, I just bought a chopper squishy little thing for my car, right? Like they're making their money on those $5 toys. They're not worried about Disney Plus. Disney Plus is just a way for them to get people's and kids' eyes on toys so they could sell toys. The movies they're
Where's the
making.
Neo merch?
Dude, where
Gotta
is
get
the
that
merch
Neo
for this
Funko.
show already? Damn it. Why wasn't this stuff ready? Right?
No
And I go,
Funkos, nothing. They didn't think it was a hit, and I think it's like my favorite Star Wars show in a
but
long time.
and I'm getting that feeling from a lot of people. A lot of people feel the exact same way, that this show is getting all the fucking feels, and why don't we have any
This
merch for it yet?
this is how out of touch they are. They don't know when they have something good, and they thought Acolyte was going to be like the thing, and clearly wasn't. And they thought like that. Remember the rumors we were hearing before? Well, I don't know how much you were paying attention, but the rumors we were hearing, like coming out the gate, was like Acolyte is going to launch their whole future, right?
Yeah.
And then Skeleton Crew, all the stuff we were hearing is like, not looking so good. Like Star Wars Santa was talking about it all the time. He's like,
But this is also
stuff
why
we're
look,
hearing, and this is awesome.
okay,
It's
I'm
been the
gonna go,
opposite.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna jump on the edge of the limb, and I'm probably gonna hang myself out to dry saying this. I don't care. I can't say that because I do. I don't hold value in what anybody says about any show before it comes out. I don't care if
No. I'm just saying.
My point
The
is,
proof of it though is like we said, the lack of merch they put out. Like there was way more stuff for Acolyte than there was for this.
true, but at the same time,
So
I don't trust and it's not that I don't trust. I can't trust every word that comes out of Bespin Bulletin. I can't trust every word that comes out of whatever media source is talking to people at Lucasfilm or behind the source or this guy. I don't believe it until I see a press release from StarWars.com or from Iger or from somebody in management.
Let's take even the rumors out of the picture, right? Like forget I said that part. Think about, like we say, we like me and you, we prefer that the director, the showrunner, just be quiet, let the show run.
Yeah.
But that's not the way they think is the best way to promote. And
Absolutely.
you can tell that because they thought they had a hit on their hands with Boba Fett. That's why they had all the directors out doing promotions, doing all this thing. But you notice for this show, they stayed quiet on purpose.
Yeah.
It's a clue into like their insight. They didn't know if they had anything at all, but they were sure they had something with Acolyte. They weren't sure. You know what I'm saying? That's why it makes me feel like they're just out of touch.
Yeah, I agree. I think they are out of touch. I think they don't have a grasp on the pulse of the
That's
community.
the whole argument I'm trying to make. I don't care about the validity of this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think they have their finger on the pulse. I don't know if they're internally focus grouping inside, and everybody's like, "Yay, everything's great," right? Because they work for the mouse. I don't know if they're now I can tell you, I think this is the smartest thing that they've done in a while, is keeping the cast and crew as silent as possible. Not so much attention on social media with the cast and crew. I think the fact that the crew is mainly children is another reason that they've had to be quiet. But at the same time, I think, unfortunately, Leslie's background and Leslie's baggage started a wildfire they couldn't contain. And honestly, that with cast members coming out and expressing their opinions on political matters and social matters and this and that gave,
which honestly the show had like little nothing to do with it. It was like, it's so mishandled. Their PR is terrible.
Their PR is terrible. Their PR
I feel
is
like they're not
terrible.
going to take the right lessons from this if they land the ship at the end, which I faith they will, just because everything I've seen so far has been awesome. But I like it's like they started off with the Mandalorian that came out of nowhere as well, right? I
Yep.
don't think they had any clue what they had. And then
No.
did they learn the right lessons, or did they just like what do they do the third season? You know, like everything kind of started to fall off a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, it worries me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, I feel like there were more legs to be had on Acolyte. I don't think that one necessarily is over. The show The Acolyte may be canceled, but maybe they do something along the lines of continue that story through another story like Plagueis or like
Yeah.
Palpatine or something in that realm. You don't necessarily have to call it The Acolyte to continue the story and use the characters. We don't even need the May and Osha. We can go on without that using Quimir and Plagueis into Tenebris into Plague Palpatine and whatever. So they may continue to use that time frame, but we may not get the exact show The Acolyte. But I feel like that show came on with a lot of baggage, and the social media disaster that
Right.
they let ensue. Not only do we have the regular band of suspects automatically hating the show because Leslie used to work for Harvey Weinstein, right? So that started the whole thing. Then she brings her politics into it, saying she's going to make this show and that show. Then you have writers that have never seen Star Wars and that negative aspect of press. It just seems
Which
like the
nobody would have known if she would just shut
shut
up and
the
make the
fuck
show.
up.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody would have known any of this or cared. And it just
No.
made it
But
I
they
don't
can
know.
and I feel like Acolyte was different because Leslie wanted to be in the spotlight, right?
Yeah.
Leslie wanted to be the show front. And so she's doing interviews and she's saying this and she's getting on social media and she's saying this and she's putting all of her baggage out on Front Street
Yeah.
instead
It's
of
like let the
promoting
stars be the stars of the show. Like
and let the show be the star, right? Instead
yeah.
of the show being the star, she came out of the gate with her bullshit. And then as we get to the show, Amandla comes out with her bullshit. And it's like, can't you just leave that shit at the door? Can't that be your own personal stuff? Why does it have to why do you have to showcase it during the launch of a show and potentially ruin the opportunity to do more? Like that's the
Yeah.
part that I don't like. It's not look, say what you want to say. It's your world, it's your life. Do what you want. But in this regard, if you wanted a second season of a show, why just shoot it? Why just shoot it in its infancy with your drama and your bullshit, right? Come out with that after the second season. Do that after the shows got picked up for a couple. But
Yeah, have success first, at
in the
least.
infancy of the show, keep your mouth shut. And that's why this show is probably going to get a second season or a third because they're letting
Depends
the
how it
show
ends, you know.
they're letting the show speak for itself, right?
Does it
They're,
set something up? We don't know, you know.
exactly, and that's the most exciting part is no one knows except for the people at Lucasfilm, right? With the Acolyte, nobody knew, but again, every week was oh man, another social media post by Leslie. Oh, another rap video by Amandla saying that the fandom is racist and sexist and biased, right? Like instead of shutting up, they steered into the fire and it lit them
Yeah.
up, right? And so I don't think Skeleton Crew has that problem because Jude Law is a professional and knows how to navigate PR and knows how to navigate social media and not get caught in the web. And John Watt knows how to direct movies with huge fucking secrets, right?
Yeah.
The Spider-Man trilogy, I call them the home trilogy. The Spider-Man trilogy was amazing and kept so many secrets under wraps, right? With the three Spider-Men reuniting, with Toby and Andrew coming back, right?
Despite Tom Holland.
But despite Tom Holland, the leak master himself, right? They kept a lot of that stuff under their hat, at least as much as they could with the leak master and then with all the other social media and the Bespin bulletins of the world putting out great reporting on a lot of on a lot of this stuff, whoever does it for Marvel. But ultimately, this show has done well because everybody has been really quiet and done positive PR. Leslie and
Yeah,
Amandla sunk their own show.
We heard like next to nothing about this show coming out too. That was the other thing. Like nobody
Well,
knew
like you said,
what was going on.
same thing with The Mandalorian. We heard nothing, and it was great, right? Same thing with Ahsoka, right? We knew it was coming out. It's the only reason it was hyped is because that's Dave's character, and no one would have hyped it up that much if it wasn't Dave Filoni in his directorial debut as an EP showrunner on his own character show, right? No one would have cared as much. But again, we didn't get a lot of information on that. No one came out and sunk that show in its infancy, right?
Yeah.
And torpedoed that show in its infancy. So it just seems like Boba Fett, even Kenobi, they didn't come out and say anything. The only reason that gets hate is because people are worried about the timeline, right? Even me, right? The timeline and them
Yeah.
fucking up my timeline, but it didn't. So
I don't even think it's a timeline. I just think it made things make a little bit less sense. Like I came out of that show thinking like, all right, Obi-Wan beat this dude twice. So why did we need to wait for somebody else? Like, what are we doing here?
well, yeah, I mean, at the same time, I look at that story as, I mean,
I was like,
I have,
make it make sense.
well, I mean, aside from the combat aspect, mentoring and watching people that you mentor go down a path you can't, necessarily understand or condone, but in this aspect, he can't kill a kid he raised, right? Like that's really what it comes down to. And then at the end, he's like, oh my, Anakin Skywalker's dead. All right, cool. See ya, Darth. Right? Like
It's a
just
cop out though, because then they're just like, yeah, Luke, kill your father. It's like, what are we doing?
yeah. I mean,
It's just
I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, Kenobi's mission wasn't, and I guess this is what it comes down to in Rebels and then eventually in A New Hope. Kenobi's mission isn't to, like, after he beats Anakin on Mustafar, his mission in life, his mission as a Jedi, is no longer to defeat Anakin Darth Vader. His job is to protect the next generation and what could be the next hope. So he doesn't have to finish the job and kill Vader. He just has to make sure that they never find out about Luke, and that's the most important thing to him. And so walking away and not tainting himself, right? Because that's the thing about Kenobi is he seems like the most Jedi of Jedis, right? He doesn't want to kill. He really doesn't. He throughout the whole Clone Wars, throughout all that stuff, how much do you really see him kill people? Right? He cut Maul in half, thought he killed him, didn't, right? He fights all kinds of Mandalorians, doesn't really like killing people, right? So he has this huge moral compass. At the end of it, he doesn't want to kill an unarmed opponent. He just doesn't want to, and that's how he looks at Vader. Like, you're beneath me. It's not even worth a fight, right?
But he unarmed him.
It's not even worth a fight. Well, yeah, I mean, he's all about cutting off limbs. I'm not saying he's a pacifist, but he doesn't really just like walk up and like motherfuckers, right? It's just not his way. And so, walking away from a downed opponent, he's not going to go kill a downed opponent. That's not his way. And so for me, that, again, I view that show in a completely different way. I know that people have come out and talked to the writers of other variations of the show, other variations of the anthology, and have talked about how we were robbed of this and robbed of that. Well, you know what? It wasn't ever really in existence, right? You can't be robbed of something that wasn't ever created. So, for me, these shows have had success or failure, in my opinion, based on the tone in the atmosphere of social media. And this show, even though the haters are trying, they're trying.
Are they for this? I'm not seeing.
Yeah,
really
they really are. They really are. As much as they, I mean, they're not talking about the kids. They're not talking, they're not talking about this, that, or the other. But when you have titles like, let's see, where's the title I'm looking for? There was a title the other day, and it was like, why why does this matter? Um, there's no point in doing streams. No one cares about Skeleton Crew anyway, right? Like, there's a lot of narrative that no one cares. But I mean, I'm into it. Everybody I talk to that watches Star Wars, that likes Star Wars as a person, as a muggle out there, is like, have you been watching this show? I'm like, oh yeah, what do you think? Oh, it's so fun
Yeah.
and this and that, So I get the haters got to get their clicks, man. I get it.
I wonder if this opens up the door for John Watts to do something else.
I hope so, man. He's really talented. I mean, I did, like I said, I don't pay attention to who directs what because I don't give a fuck. I don't care who the directors are. That's why I didn't care about Leslie. It's like, let's judge the body of work, not the person. Like, let's judge their
Yeah.
work. And I mean, I didn't know John Watt did the Spider-Man stuff. And after finding that out and then seeing this, man, that I get it. I like
He
that
was
guy's
actually
work.
he was going to be doing Fantastic Four, and then
I'm so
something
glad
happened.
that
He shifted and
so
came
glad
over
that
here.
didn't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, he is super talented. And again, a director, if somebody said, "Oh, there's this movie, John Watts," I'm in. I don't even care what's the movie about. I don't care. I'm in. As long as it's not
You
going to
think
steal.
of everything he's done so far with this, it's like it's just stayed in his lane, hasn't impacted anything, screwed anything up. Even the stuff he has done within the lane, it all adds up. It kind of makes sense. We're still trying to figure it out though, because they've done such a good job with it. So I'm impressed.
Well, it's just like the Gilroys, right? I mean, yeah, you could talk about the dollar amount of Andor, but at the same time, look at that body of work and find something you don't like. And don't give me the constant argument.
It just doesn't feel like Star Wars. It's a feeling, and Andor is just don't give me this feel.
Right? That's not
Yeah.
I need an argument better than that because honestly, Andor was a great story. It just in the first season of telling me how the Death Star got made. If I got nothing else out of that whole show, you showed
Yeah.
me how they made the Death Star. Right?
Andor is just a different type of Star Wars. It's like it's heavy political thriller, actually.
It's a spy show.
Yeah.
It's
And it's
Jason.
fun. And then it has a Kyber crystal ship. Like we're not even talking about it anymore.
Oh, I
That
talk
was
about it all the
insane.
time. I love that ship. That ship has the what is it? Rakatan? Is it no, I'm thinking about is it the Rakata? No.
It was insane.
He mentions it in the Kyber crystal. He talks about the Kyber crystal. And the Kyber crystal. Have a good night, Stanley's. He talks about the Kyber crystal that powers the ship, and
Hey, Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Hey, it is Christmas on the East Coast. Merry Christmas to all. Yeah, but I mean, look, there's so much. Andor is just it's a spy thriller. It's Star Wars spy thriller. This is Star Wars Goonie treasure hunting, right? This is National Treasure meets Star Wars. It's great, and I'm loving it. So, yeah, I mean, next week is going to be great. I don't know what they're going to give us. If we're going to get more of Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt's background story. I don't know if we're going to see the kids escape and take over. I don't know if one of them is going to show us their force power. Because I kind of get a feeling that could be in the cards. Like I know that Wham wants to be a Jedi, and he's talking to and is that the reason he's paying so much attention to him? Right? Is because
Oh man, upside down lightsaber boy. I don't think he's pulling off.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I would love to see Neil start using the Force. I think that would be hilarious. I think that would piss Wim off so bad. He would be so mad if his best friend actually has the Force. Like that would make him so sad. So episode 7 is the flash to back to. Okay, it's the back to tank story. So we'll find out soon enough. Cool. Well, it's Christmas. I'm sure you have Santa duties to do. So I'm gonna leave you to do
woke up a couple hours.
Yeah,
by
that's what I'm
some
saying. I know you
pirates
have
with
Santa
booty in the
duty
house.
and little person duty. So, yeah, we're going to get out of here and go get ready for Christmas. But Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll be releasing our last short with our Lego Star Wars Advent Calendar tomorrow morning. We will also be releasing some content. We also have, I didn't really want to say anything, but we also have another What's in the Box coming. So I think tomorrow, because it's Christmas It's the channel's
You gotta,
Christmas.
gotta do a clip from Seven.
We're gonna
What's in
do
the box?
yeah, we're it's a what's in the box,
Brad Pitt.
another what's in the box stream. And I've talked about it a couple times. I'm not sure if people are paying attention, but tomorrow we will be doing some stuff on stream. So just hop on by and spend an hour or two, maybe an hour of with us at Christmas. Yeah, anything going on? Anything you want to add?
No, man. Just trying to make it to the new year.
Yeah, dude. I feel you. Well, the new year is only 1 week away, so 1 week from now we will have Skeleton Crew episode 6, I believe. Yep, 6. So yeah, everybody be safe out there. Don't forget, spay and neuter your pets, help control the pet population. Don't forget, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Tell everybody in your life how you feel today, because tomorrow, sometimes doesn't come. If you love them, you love them. Tell them you love them. You hate them, you hate them. Tell them you hate them. And as always, thank you, Nerd Mafia, for joining me tonight. I know it's a busy night. Thank you for coming by. As always, you guys stick around on the channel for the rest of the year. We have a couple more things going on. I'm not going to leave you dry for the rest of the year. Be safe out there. Happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, whatever you are. Happy holidays. Enjoy the day. And I appreciate you for being here on Christmas Eve. Have a good night, guys. Take care. We'll see you next time. Peace.